how the efforts of Pablo and other architects in Europe to bring design into the engineering of cities, which should not be the engineering, but the synthesis of both is becoming more and more effective. And how it dialogues with what Charles was saying earlier about the importance of landscape as urbanism and how do we evolve the architectonic model to deal with this large scale and multiple variables. So now I'm very happy to introduce João Manuel de Mello. He's an economist by training with a PhD in Stanford. His area of focus are cities, especially its relation to crime and economics. And nowadays he is based at INSPIR, but he has a successful career also in the private sector and is more and more engaged with designers and engineers to think about how can we make our cities better. So please welcome João Manuel de Mello.
Thank you, Ben, for the kind words. Thanks for the invitation. I really appreciate you and Carol and Harvard University for inviting me to moderate this fantastic panel. I was happy that several top economists were cited today. It's not a, I hope it's not a sign of methodological imperialism, but it's, yeah, I think it's great. I think I've learned a lot. I think we can learn from each other. Let me just go through this without further ado. We're going to have this great panel here. I'll introduce the four panelists by order in which they will speak. First, we're going to have Fernando Viegas. Fernando is an architect. He's trained at USP, his undergrad and then his master's at USP. For more than 20 years, he's a partner at Arquitetos, a firm based in São Paulo, and leads a wide range of architecture and urban projects. He is also a professor at Escola Cidade, where he coordinates a great course. Let's curious to take this course: Civilization, America, Geography, City, and Architecture. Fernando. Our second panelist will be Vlad Chivas, who is an architect and an urbanist, who was trained at Universidade Federal do Rio de Janeiro, where he got his undergrad and his master's. And he has early work on landscape projects on the studio of Roberto Burle Marx, working with Yoshi Ono between 94 and 01, and he subsequently co-founded Movely. And in 2009 he founded his current practice, MBA, which focuses on landscape, environmental, and sustainable territorial development. He is I was a former colleague of his. He's at Bookie. Our third panelist is Luis Callejas, whom I had the great pleasure to meet in Timor yesterday. Luis is an architect. He's a founding partner and former director of Paisajes Emergentes and founder and director of ICLA office in Medellin. Luis's design practice and research is positioned at the intersection of architecture, landscape, and urbanism, and he's oriented towards the generation of new forms of engagement with the public helm by reframing the traditional limited disciplinary tools of architecture to make meaningful political and spatial impacts at territorial scales. Luis is a lecturer in landscape architecture at the Graduate School of Design, Harvard University. Yes. Finally, we will have Roberto Montezuma. Roberto is an architect and an urbanist, partner of AFM Arquitetos Urbanistas. He's a professor at UFPE, Universidade Federal de Pernambuco, and a president of the Conselho de Arquitetura e Urbanismo de Pernambuco, CAU-PE. He's the coordinator of INSIT, and is leading the Parque Capiberibe project to transform the Capiberibe River in Recife. He graduated from UFPE and has a specialization in social housing from the Architectural Association. Roberto. I have an autocratic nature, so I'm going to keep very tight on time. I also have a flight to catch. So It's 10 minutes for each panelist.
Boa tarde. Conforme combinado, eu vou falar em inglês. I'd like to thank you for the invitation. It's so good to be here among friends in this special city. I'm going to talk about the work I have been developing at my office in Arquitetos with 3 partners. But we take part of a larger group in São Paulo that share the same interest in research. The scale of São Paulo is very important for us to understand strategies for each project. The metropolis is located almost 700 meters above the sea and is part of a constellation of cities including Santos and its port. The city remained 4 centuries as a small town, a part of the cities in Brazil, all of them along the coast. At the end of the 19th century, it has overcome this topography and connected the port and the interior through the railway. This even changed the relation between coffee's production and exportation by Santos. São Paulo became very important as a trading center in the middle of the highway, and after this, many industries were built. The city set the 20th century with 200,000 inhabitants and ended it with almost 20 million persons 100 years later. The landscape changed from this kind of town to this. But at the same time, far from downtown, the landscape sometimes is like this. City is a combination of formal and informal cities, poor and rich, disrupted. Geography was transformed so quickly to adapt to industrial production, but infrastructure to support this growth was designed without respecting the specific site. It was never joined with other systems, always thought independent without urban culture, only as urgency. Obviously, this changed into infrastructural problems, floods, water supply, housing, traffic, mobility. Until today, infrastructural works spends lots of money. We think that could be an opportunity for all of us, not only for engineers along the 21st century, to use budget for those projects to renovate city, making places for people, transforming it with sense of place. At the same time, we face this moment now because demographers say that population's growth will stop, but we are in the middle of an economic crisis, and we'll have to wait, I think, a little bit. Original geography with lots of rivers, streams and hills could be revealed from each project. I'm going to show you as an example 3 works we were hired by government, city and state to design and develop all of them. Railway line connects 3 projects. This train line crosses downtown area and have to be renovated. It could be an opportunity to transform the city with a continuous public space. Moca and Ipiranga neighborhoods encompasses a fabric that is heavily occupied by old industrial warehouses, now converted into depots of purely logistic use. A new occupation that could bring people closer to downtown is possible in these vast empty areas. Proposed intervention is based upon the project for a linear park running along the railway track, construction of a new land cityscape in which water will have an important presence, preservation of industrial heritage and increasing population density. The scope of the project falls between Moca and Ipiranga rail stations, and design is largely determined by infrastructure. Flood areas converted into parks. The construction of a lake with almost 3 kilometers long to retain rainwater. No more walls to protect the tracks, only the lake. A railway line is converted into landscape. Replace the improved stations to connect subway and trains. Entrances are underpass of the railroad. Public spaces as a system. preserve industrial heritage, and change some buildings' functions. New road system joined with existing streets. New social housing. And the complete plan with 3 high-rise buildings to finance the entire project. This drawing shows the plan and the conversation with the city in 1930, past and future together. Our beach. Big group work. This second project is the renovation of Parque Dom Pedro II. It is located on the floodplain of Tamanduateia River, one of the most important rivers of the city. It's a symbolic public space with important historical buildings and connections between downtown, historical hill, and east neighborhoods. Road work in early 70s transformed the park into a node of transportation system, nullifying its other public functions. There is also an elevated metro station, 2 other express bus line stations, and the largest bus station in the city. Park is currently cut off by the most important expressway north-south and the most important expressway east-west of town. The transformation of this park beyond its internal limit has as premise an urban redevelopment that could radiate qualities to surrounding neighborhoods. Briefly, plan provide 3 axes of intervention. First, the road system. Project extends the lowering of the highway already partially defined by the municipality until the end of the park, near subway station, allowing demolition of 4 viaducts that cross the park. Accessibility was expanded with the designing of new crossings. Second, public transport system. Proposals for road system allowed reorganization of 3 public transportation systems existing today in the park. Project proposes an intermodal station connecting subway station, articulating demands of trade lines and systems. A new station is developed around a leafy square garden, and the organization offers a more comfortable place for users. Retention lagoon. It was proposed a lagoon in the park that fulfills several functions. It's a key factor in the design of public space for a new urban landscape. This lagoon is designed to hold excess rainwater in times of heavy rain, preventing flooding in the region. Lagoon includes a natural filtration system through artificial wetlands. The zoning for social housing and the plan. The lake. Luis Calheiros helped us to make these drawings. Do you remember, Luis? There are important historical buildings in the northern section of the park. Despite the physical proximity of these buildings, there is a complete isolation between them, resulting in a disarticulated urban space. We propose to build a square next to the municipal market, as well as to new institutional buildings offering leisure activities, sports and culture. And the last project, we did this project with a big group to studios, and a group of research of the University of São Paulo. And the last one, Lapa is a neighborhood with old industries and new housing, cut off by 2 train lines that divide it into north and south areas. To receive new train services, there isn't enough space in a railway track. Train lines that will serve to increase demand will have to be at different levels. So we decided to downgrade the trains and integrate them in only one new station. With this action, neighborhood will be valorized. Districts of up and down the rail can be connected as one. Tiburtino stream, a tributary of Tietê River, crosses perpendicularly rails and was crucial to design the station. Construction of the station itself includes this stretch of canal bridge above future platforms. Open ground floor will be connected to mezzanine through generous skylights. Train remains in the landscape. When walking around the canopy, it's possible to see it at lower level. By shaded promenade, it's possible to see discovered stream. Lapa's station will reveal a small piece of city water system. What was the back of 2 different neighborhoods became a new public space constructed as an avenue with 1 kilometer marquee, with mixed-use urban life. To close with an optimistic idea, I'd like to say that our citizens are making some of these discussions, transforming and reusing some of old infrastructural constructions like viaducts, expressways, and the streets itself. Social movements are trying to say that city is only one. It's for everybody, and it's made by people to people. Thank you.